Hello everyone, welcome back to my Tidyverse series. In previous video, we learned about dplyr, which help us filter, mutate, summarize, and join clinical datasets. In this video, we will focus on tidyr, another core Tidyverse package. While dplyr work on row and column, tidyr help us reshape the structure of data, which is extremely common in clinical programming. So next is why do we need tidyr? So in clinical study, many dataset like lab, vitals, and questionnaires common in either in a wide or a long format. For analysis and table creation, we often need data in a specific format, right? Uh, in that situation, we need tidyr. It helps convert data between wider and a long format and a uh, clean up all the messy columns. So basically, as in SAS, we use proc transpose for changing our data from wider format to the longer format. So similarly, tidyr help us doing the same work with various functions. So we will look for these functions one by one. So let's jump to our studio so that we can see how these functions work on a data frame. This is my R Studio screen. Hope you can see my screen. So you can clean your global environment with this RM command. So I already did, and my console is also completely clear. So we can start. So first we have to load the required package. So today we are doing tidyr. So no need of loading tidyverse completely because we are working with the tidyr only, and we need dplyr as well for chaining the steps. So we will call only these two packages, dplyr and tidyr. No need of calling all the package from the tidyverse library. And I need dplyr for various steps. So just calling dplyr. And second, I need tidyr to see all the tidyr function. So just yeah. So our library, we load our required packages and library part done. Next, we need to create one dataset. I want to show you how this dataset, basically today I will create one dataset because I want to show you how uh, pivot longer, pivot wider, these function really work. Because with the bigger dataset like from Farmers Adam, it's very difficult to show you how this format, these function work well. So for that, for today, I'm creating one simple data set. Let's say I'm creating ADLB. Okay. For that, I'm using table. Table is also a function of function in tidyr. With table, we can create uh, data sets. We can create dataset with data.frame as well. But table is also a format in which we can create tables or datasets. So we have um, table as a separate package as well, in which you have lot of function. You can explore that as well. But table is a part of tidyr, so I'm using table. Sorry, say yeah, table. So in that I'm creating some column. Use sub GID. Let's go for the capital default. Use sub GID. Okay, and okay, yeah, it's correct. And in that I'm creating some group subject IDs. Let's say 01, 02, and 03. Okay, so I'm creating these three use subject IDs. Next, column I want to create. I'm creating some lab test column. I'm creating in a wider form, table in a wider form. Let's say LB and ALT. It's a oops, LB, ALT. So basically, I'm creating one test like lab alanine aminotransferase ALT. Lab is a like it's a prefix, and this is a test code I'm using, and in that I'm creating one. That's why it's showing in different color. So I need to add this question quotation. So now I'm giving some reading for this test for each U subject ID. Okay, I'm giving let's say 35 for the first subject, 48 for the second, and let's say one missing for the NA for this third U subject ID. I don't have any reading for this test for this subject. Okay. Next test, I'm creating LB as a prefix and test code AST, aspartate transferase. Yeah, this. So I am creating this test code column. In that, I'm giving some reading to all the three subjects. Let's say 40 and let's say 55 and let's say 60. I'm giving. So next, I'm creating blue rubin lab test for blue rubin. And for that, this is prefix and I'm giving code, test code, BILI is equal to, and I'm giving some readings to each subject. Let's say 0.8 and caps NA for missing value. I don't have any value for the second subject for this test, and I'm giving 1.2 to the third subject. Okay, now just run this. Okay, and I am just printing this table so you can see. Yeah, this I have 4 column and 3 rows for 3 subjects in which I have missing value for this and this. Okay, now this is in a wider form. Let's say we want to create one column that is param CD. I want to give these name in a param CD for Adam dataset creation. Let's say and these reading to aval. To aval, I want to give all the readings and this for all the parent CD. So we need to transpose these data. Okay, this is in a wider form, right? Now I want to convert this data to a longer format. Okay, for that I need to apply pivot underscore longer function from tidyr for transposing data from the wider format to the longer format. Okay, how we can do that? We can do that easily with this function. So I'm using AD underscore. We are doing long, right? Long table we are creating. I'm giving just this name. Just go. I'm using this table as a set. I already explained all these function in deployer when I explained the deployer package. You can take a look on that video as well because I explained each and every function from deployer from basic to advanced. It will help you to understand how this chain and all the deployer function work for analysis. Now I'm using pivot longer. Very good function for transposing from longer, so wider to longer format. Now I want to give a column. Those column I want to transport. So this is a function. This is a argument from pivot underscore longer function. So I'm using this. I'm seeing all the column that are starting with LB. You can specify each and every column by let's just say combine operator. I can do with let's just say C and I can specify all the column. Okay, this, and this. But there is one more shortcut for this. You can do if all the columns starting with a same prefix. Okay, LB, 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 LB. Okay, then we can do start underscore with. This is also a function of tidyr. Okay, we can say, okay, all the column that are starting with caps lock LB. Okay, I'm using all the column that are starting with LB, or you can do by using the combined operator and explicitly specify each and every column in that parenthesis. Okay, this one done. Okay, we want to transpose this data to a longer format. Okay, next argument is names. Two, we want all these name. We have to give that column name. Okay, where you want to give these name. Let's say I want to create one column that is param cd because I want to give uh, all these column to as an observation for param cd as we do in our atoms. Okay, next value. You if you specified the column name for these variable, you have to specify the column name for these value as well. Okay, so for that values to, this is also a function for pivot underscore longer, so I'm using this. So I'm specifying avar. I want all these value to in avar. Just run this and see. I'm selecting this table and just printing. Okay, now you can see all the, this is subject 1. All the 3 tests I'm having with param cd and aval value. Subject 2, now these 3 value, and subject 3, these 3 value. So this was the wider format. Now we have the longer format of the same table. Okay, by this pivot underscore longer, we can change our wider format to the longer format. Basically, this is very important function. You will use this function almost every day because we work on various item data sets and TLF creation. This is very important function. And next function is separate. So this function split any column into, let's say we have LB ALT. I want to split LB from ALT. I want to create one more column in which I want to give ALT, only a test, not the prefix. So how we can do? I want to show you this by explaining with code. Okay, ADLB, let's say ADLB underscore separation we are doing, so let's go for the sep, and I'm using this table this time, ADLB underscore long table, because we have to work on this param cd column, right? That's why I'm using this ADLP underscore long. Okay, now I'm using dplyr for chaining. Now separate function, it's a wrong spell. Yeah, separate I'm using, and that I am working on which column? This column. Okay, just copy and paste. I'm working on this column. Okay. Now I want to create two other column. Let's say into, this is a function from separate function from tidyr c lb, let's say lb underscore p for prefix. Okay. Second column I want to create test code. Let's go for the lowercase. You can choose any, like you want to create any lowercase or the uppercase, it depends on you. Okay. Separation is also a part of this, so I'm giving 2. Why 2? Because it's a 2 words, right? LB, it's a 2 1 and 2 characters. So that's why from after LB I want separation. So I'm just running this. Okay, you can just print this table. LB underscore P prefix LB all the and test code ALT, AST, everything is separated. We can separate the observation value with this function. Let's say if I specified here 3, how it will show. Now run. Just print this. Look, three character with 3 character it's separated, right? So this separation function you can use for if you want to separate something from a column. So let's say you want to create some prefix and the suffix, so you can use this function. For now, I'm keeping it 2. Okay, done. So this function done. So this is pivot underscore longer, separate, both done. Now unite. It's the opposite of separate. It's completely opposite of separate. So as name suggests, we can unite the column. I just want to show with the example. ADSL, ADLB, sorry, ADLB underscore unite. Okay, I'm using this table because we need to unite these two columns, right? With some, let's say, with some underscore or something with hyphen, anything. We have to specify that now. Unite and okay, which column you want to create after combining. Let's say I want to create parent. This is the new column I want to create. It should be in quotation. Next, which column you want to use for combining. Let's say I want to use this and test code, right? These two column I want to use. Done. And separation. Separation unite function we are doing. So it with the, let's say underscore I want to do. Now just run these two. Okay. Print this table so you can see. It created one variable with the name of this. You have to specify any name you can specify. So it combines this LB with ALT, right? With this underscore as a separator. You can specify, let's say, this is not, I want to specify just a, you can specify, let's say star. Okay, you can do that. You can see any separation you can specify under this separation, and these are two columns you want to unite, and this is the new name you want to give to the column after unite. Okay, so this is also a good function. So for now I'm just keeping it underscore and just running. Just run. Okay, done. So separate and unite both are opposite to each other, right? So next function is drop underscore NA. Let's say you want to drop all the observation that has NAs in a val. So by this function, you can drop all the NAs from any column straightforward. So how you can do? Just add ADLB underscore missing observation. Oh, let's go for the lowercase ADLB underscore miss. Okay, I'm using this data frame for this. Okay, chaining and then very straightforward function drop underscore NA from tidyr you can see, and in tidyr this function also has a lot of variation. you can explore that package. But if you know this much, this is completely fine. You can work very smoothly. So no need of going in that much depth. But if you want to, you can explore this package in detail. Idea. There is so many cheat sheets is also available. You can download that and explore that. And I'm using aval as a function. So, oh sorry, aval as a column. So just run and look. All the n is gone. These two observations is not included in this because we said we don't want NA's observation from aval. So this function is very useful to remove all the NA from your column, any column. We have aval here, so I'm using aval. Otherwise, any numeric column you can use. Okay, next function is replace underscore NA. Let's say if you want to replace this NA with some number, let's say I want to give instead of NA, I want to show it's a 0. We don't have any value for this test for this subject, and so instead of NA, I want to show 0 because when we create our report, final analysis for like let's say for table creation or listing, we want to show that this subject with this test have 0 record. So instead of NA, I want to show 0 in my report. Okay, we don't have reading for this test. So how we can change directly for complete column or for a complete variable with this function we can do easily. How we can do? We are using ad lb underscore rep for again I'm using the caps lock. It's better to use the lowercase in r ad lb, but you can use that's completely your choice. Rep and I'm using this table because we removed all the NA from this table in this, so no need of so how we can change the NA to some other thing. So in this table we don't have NAs, right? But in this unite table we have NA, so we can use that. And I'm using replace underscore NA from tidyr. In that we have to specify list and aval. And aval I want to give 0 because I want to show first I want to show you how it replace NA from 0, then I will explain why list. We used list. We didn't use list in this function in any other function. Why in replace? Okay, just run and see how it's showing. Look, all the NAs is having 0 value in that. So it's a good representation in a report. Instead of showing NAs, it's good to show 0 for that subject. We don't have value for that subject for this particular test. So why list? We used list here, right? If you let's say you avoid you are not using list, you are just using aval is equal to 0. Replace aval is equal to 0. It will show error. So it will show error. It will not work. So it's mandate in replace function to use list function. List and again it's a bracket here. Now it will work because we used list function in between replace underscore NA function. Let's say you have two variables. One is I have already explained in my previous video in data type that list is very versatile. You can store anything. Character, you want to store logical operators, logical data type, you want to store numeric, anything you can easily store in list. So let's say you want to, you have two variable. One is numeric and one is character. So aval is numeric, right? That's why we are just giving that wherever aval is missing, aval is showing NA, give 0. And let's say we have one more column that is character. Let's say aval C we have, right? It's Control Z. Just yeah. Hmm. We have aval C, and instead of any underscore character underscore like for um, all the missing value in a character column, we want to give that missing value in a character column as a missing. Sorry, instead of blank, instead of blank, we want to give in a character column. It's a missing. So we can easily do in this format in a list because list can store character and a numeric both. So by this we can replace all the NA from the numeric variable as well as the character variable in a one go. So it's a list is a very versatile function you can use inside replace dot underscore NA to replace all the NA from the numeric column and all the missing blank value from the character column according to your need. If you want to give, let's say, I want to give 10, so we can do. Instead of missing, I want to say not available. I can specify any value, right? So with this list function, we can change numeric and character both. So I don't have any aval C in my dataset, so I'm just removing this. But if you have, you can easily change all the blank value from the character variable to not available or missing. So this is very good function replaced underscore NA in which you can replace NAs to any value to to show a good analysis report. So next and last function from tidyr which is useful for our clinical domain, that is pivot wider. So similarly, we use proc transport in SAS for longer and wider tables to convert longer table to wider and wider table to longer. Here we have two separate functions, pivot longer and pivot wider. Pivot longer we did already. Now we are working with the wider table. Now we are making our table back to this format. We are converting this long table to this format again. So how we can do? We have separate function syntax for this. So adlb underscore wide we are making, and we are using pivot adlb underscore longer. This table we are using. Okay. First, I want to show how it's look. So this is our longer table, right? We have param cd. Now we are converting all the parameter in a wider form. Okay, in this table back to normal. So for that, pivot wider from tidyr, in that from where we want to take the names. From where you want to take the names for making the column. From param cd we want to take the names for new columns, and AMES and underscore from. It's a very straightforward function. From where you want to take the name, it's saying. So param cd. So in R, it's a bit confusing where to use the quotation, where we where we are not using the quotation. So it's a bit confusing, but with practice you can understand where we need to use quotation marks and where we don't need to use the quotation marks. So yeah, it's a bit confusing. And from where we want to take the values. From aval we want to take the value for the newly formed column. So values from aval. Okay, just run. Done. So you can see we are back to our first table in a wider format. You subject ID, all the lab test and all the values. So this is wider form and this is longer format. So these are all the functions from tidyr that we use very commonly in our clinical domain for reshaping our data. So basically today we learned how tidyr helps reshape and produce clean clinical data for analysis and reporting. So in my next video, I will move on the another important Tidyverse package and continue building our understanding step by step. So if you found this session helpful, please like, share and subscribe to support this series. So thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.